Throughout history, cultures around the world have told tales of terrifying and awe-inspiring creatures, monsters that lurk in the shadows, guard sacred places, or challenge the bravest of heroes. From the fire-breathing dragons of Europe to the shape-shifting Yokai of Japan, these mythical beasts embody the fears, beliefs, and imaginations of their people. This series will explore some of the most legendary monsters of mythology, uncovering their origins, powers, and the stories that keep them alive to this day. Welcome to Myth and Lores, a journey into the dark and divine. Without further ado, let's jump into another lore. The tale of the Kuchisake-Onna, or Slit-Mouthed Woman, is one of the most chilling urban legends in Japan, and it has a particular eerie, modern feel to it, especially since it began circulating widely in the 1970s. Her story has several versions, all involving her distinctive, terrifying appearance and her penchant for asking her victims a deceptively simple question. Here's a deeper dive into the legend of Kuchisake-Onna. The origins of Kuchisake-Onna. The Kuchisake-Onna's origins are debated, but most stories trace her back to a long time ago, often during Japan's feudal period when her legend began to spread. In some versions of the myth, she was a beautiful woman who was either disfigured by her husband or cursed for vanity. According to the legend, she once had a normal life, but became a victim of a violent and tragic fate, leading her to become a vengeful ghost. The most popular backstory involves the woman being mutilated by her husband in a fit of rage. Some variations say that he was jealous and believed her to be unfaithful, while others claim that she was simply a beautiful woman who became too vain. In his anger, he sliced her mouth from ear to ear, creating the grotesque, permanent slit that gives her her name. After this brutal disfigurement, some stories say that the woman either died or was left to wander as a spirit, while others suggest she became a malevolent ghost doomed to walk the earth with a terrifying appearance and a hunger for vengeance. The most distinguishing feature of the Kuchisake-Onna is of course her mouth. She wears a mask or a cloth to cover her face, hiding the horrific gash that runs from ear to ear. When she reveals her true face, her wide, blood-stained smile is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Her lips are grotesquely torn, and the slash is so severe that her mouth looks unnaturally large. In some versions, her face is covered only by her hair, which hangs loosely and covers part of her disfigured mouth. Her eyes are often described as vacant or filled with malice, and she moves with a supernatural speed when chasing her victims. This physical deformity is central to her myth, a visual manifestation of her internal anguish and rage. The most well-known part of the Kuchisake-Onna story is the encounter itself, which usually takes place at night or in a secluded area. Here's how the story typically unfolds. The initial meeting. A person, often a schoolchild or lone traveler, walks home at night when they come across a woman, usually in a public space or a quiet street. She might approach them, seemingly innocent at first, and ask a question. Am I beautiful? This question seems innocent, but it's a trap. How the person answers will determine their fate. If the victim answers no, the Kuchisake-Onna will become enraged. She will attack or kill them, often by slashing them with the same knife-like force that disfigured her own mouth. Her fury is a direct result of the rejection, as her beauty is central to her identity, and her victim's response determines whether they live or die. If the victim answers yes, she removes her mask and reveals a grotesque mouth. She then asks again, "Do you think I'm beautiful now?" If the victim answers yes again, she slashes their face in a similar way, creating an identical wide, horrifying slit in their mouth. If the victim answers no, she kills them outright. In some versions, she will follow the victim after the encounter and kill them at a later time. In others, she might give the victim a chance to escape if they answer her questions correctly, but it's never clear what the correct answer is. Escape from Kuchisake-Onna. Some variations of the story suggest ways for the victim to escape, though these methods are often complicated and uncertain. One popular method involves the victim giving a vague or non-specific answer to her question. For example, saying so-so or average in response to her initial question. This confuses her, as she is unable to respond to an ambiguous answer, giving the victim a chance to run away. Another method involves throwing something at her, such as candy or money. In some stories, this distracts the Kuchisake-Onna, allowing the person to escape. However, these escape methods don't always work, and the exact outcome of the encounter with her is often unpredictable, heightening the sense of danger and terror. The Kuchisake-Onna myth is particularly unsettling because of the psychological elements it touches upon. Fear of rejection. Her question, "Am I beautiful?" highlights a deep-seated fear of rejection, both personal and societal. Beauty is a significant theme in Japanese culture, and her mutilation can be seen as a symbol of how damaging rejection and vanity can be. The idea of beauty being both powerful and destructive makes her a particularly haunting figure in folklore. Mutilation and trauma. The physical deformity of the Kuchisake-Onna is a manifestation of the trauma she experienced, and her quest for vengeance becomes a cycle of perpetual suffering. She is both victim and perpetrator, carrying the scars of violence as she inflicts violence on others. Fear of the unknown. The mask and her sudden, terrifying appearance at night evoke the fear of the unknown. In urban legends, the Kuchisake-Onna is the personification of the unknown dangers lurking in seemingly safe places. It's also a modern variation on classic ghostly figures, a woman wronged, transformed into a spirit, seeking retribution. The Kuchisake-Onna myth gained widespread attention in the 1970s and 1980s, especially after reports of her sightings began to spread in Japanese cities. She was particularly associated with urban legends, and it was said that people who encountered her would whisper the story to others, causing a chain reaction of fear and fascination. Over the years, the legend became even more ingrained in popular culture, with various retellings in movies, TV shows, manga, and anime. One of the most notable adaptations is the 2007 film Kuchisake-Onna, which portrays her as a vengeful ghost who terrorizes a high school, emphasizing her monstrous, supernatural qualities. The figure of Kuchisake-Onna has also appeared in various modern horror contexts, cementing her as a symbol of terror in Japanese folklore. The Kuchisake-Onna legend remains potent in Japanese culture as both an urban myth and a figure of folklore. She is terrifying because she exists at the intersection of the real world and the supernatural, a ghostly figure who can appear on your way home, lurking in the shadows. Her appearance is horrifying and uninviting. Her connection to the human fears of vanity, rejection, and trauma makes her one of the more psychologically complex yokai. That concludes this lore. If you like what you heard, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next lore. Bye.